All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out the Rich CELENZA show. So what I'm going to talk about today is erasing your past. I don't know if I came up with this or I saw it somewhere. I take these notes and, throughout the year, and I go back and forth, but I saw this in my notes and it kind of caught me off guard because, a lot of times I think what people may need to do to move forward is look at erasing their past. Now, I'm not telling you to forget about your past, and I know that's kind of it's kind of doesn't make sense to a certain degree. But, I talk to a lot of people, and I hear from a lot of people how their past is just horrific. The things they've gone through mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever you want to say, and it really does hold them back. And, again, I goof around a lot of times when I talk to others too. I'm almost like, I can say this about myself as well. I almost want to hit my head sometimes and forget about a lot of things in my past. A lot of fears I may have had, things I've gone through, things that may have aggravated me, that still trigger me, and all these things. Like, is remembering a lot of my past actually helpful, or is it hurting? And I don't think a lot of us look at it that way. Sure, and I don't want you to not learn things, obviously, from your past, like I said earlier. But I do think sometimes we're just so caught up in our past. And I find myself there as well a lot of times. Even things that make me upset, it could be the prices of things that are now compared to their past. I go through that with my father and my mother and others as well. Or who did what in the past, you can never trust them again. Or what the economy was like in the past, what type of environment it was then, is it going to happen now? And all the past. We really got to start looking to the future, no matter who the hell you are. We also got to quit blaming others in our past. I talk about it all the time. And honestly, it may be time to try to forget a lot of shit that is not benefiting you and harping over it. One gift I have is I can kind of remember a lot of things, believe it or not. But on the other end, I can't remember anything. I know that sounds absolutely crazy, but I have a really good memory, when it comes to specific things, all the way back to my childhood. Very specific little things, conversations, what somebody is wearing, what we were eating, where we were at, all those things. But then again, I'll have conversations with tons of my friends, family members, colleagues. They'll say stuff that I've done that I have no idea I was with them. I'm not even saying bad things. I'm just saying things I've gone through, restaurants I've been to, cities and states I visited. It's crazy, and it could be very fast. It could be like a month ago. I have no idea what they're talking about. Like, hey, do you remember this restaurant? I'm like, oh, I've never been there. And they're like, oh, no, you were there last month. I'm like, oh, my God. So my point being is I had to put a value on what I want to remember when I'm doing things now. It doesn't mean I'm dismissing it. But sometimes I think we get caught up with, I'll just use, for example, you may go to a certain place, something happened that you don't like. Could be bad service, somebody said something to you, whatever. You'll remember that instead of the entire night being wonderful. Just one thing, a guy could step on your shoes, hypothetically, be like, hey, I remember that asshole step on my shoes. You don't remember you were on a date maybe, or you were at a club and you met some girls, or you went out for dinner and you had fun with your friends, whatever the case may be. You'll remember the negative aspect of that. Again, forget about that shit. Let it go. Dwelling on all these things that aggravate us also in our past, I talk about this sometimes in my podcast, how is that benefiting us whatsoever? If you're, again, going to bed and it's hard for you to fall asleep and all you're thinking about is your past and how you may have screwed up, or you may have missed the boat, you should have invested, you should have moved to this place, you should have dated or married this person, you should have been in this relationship or whatever, it is not most likely going to benefit you unless you wake up and start doing something about it. So kind of figure that out. And believe me, I'm no psychiatrist. This is just me, again, telling you my personal opinion. But forget a lot about your past. And I don't mean, again, the wonderful things. I don't want you to all of a sudden forget things that, you definitely will need to help you in the future. But there's so much shit that went on in your past, like most people, that does absolutely nothing for them except bring them down, trigger them, piss them off, emotionally kind of destroy them. So I don't want to keep these long anymore. You kind of get the idea what I'm talking about there. If you got any questions or comments, you're more than welcome to hit me up. I'm at Rich actually my email is rich@richcelenza.com. My website's richcelenza.com. And I try to help men master their self-confidence. And a lot of times, these things come up where I don't care if they were bullied. I don't care what they were dumped, ghosted, divorced, all these things. And listen, no one goes unscathed. I say it all the time, man. Everyone's got good, for the most part, and bad memories throughout their life, depending on what type of environment they were in. But if you're in North America, for the most part, you got a lot of good memories. Maybe a lot of those bad memories, let them go. All right? All right. Take care.